Get everything you need for your next job without the hassle at AquaBluMosaics.com. We carry everything from high-quality pool tile, porcelain pavers, grout, fire and water features, and everything in between that you need to get your project done and put some money in your pocket. A literal showroom in the palm of your hand, we are the most powerful tool any pool contractor can have in their pocket. Become an Aqua Pro and save money on every order, get free samples, and have full access to our unmatched customer service. Easy to remember, hard to forget. Visit AquaBluMosaics.com.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Trusty, editor of Pool Magazine, and today I'm chatting with my friend and frequent guest to the Pool Magazine Podcast, Vito Mariano, president of Basecrete Technologies. Always a pleasure to have you with us, Vito.
Thanks, Joe. Good to hear from you. I hope everybody's good. We're good. We're busy, but still working like crazy.
So across the country, we're winding down yet another busy pool season. And I tell you, this has definitely been one of the more challenging summers in recent memory. I'm sure you've heard about the difficulties pool owners have been facing in Central Texas with the recent spate of ASR concrete instances that have been showing up in the media. Evidently, during the pandemic, material shortages caused suppliers to supplement ingredients. In this instance, there's a few different speculations as to the root cause, whether it be fly ash or silica related. However, what we do know is that a negative chemical reaction occurred, which has caused pools to develop this concrete cancer and is making them deteriorate. Consequently, thousands of pools in Texas have become virtually unusable, and this has led to a veritable slew of lawsuits. With all of the challenges we face this year, it really highlights to me the importance of using the best materials to ensure long-lasting and durable pools. And when it comes to that, Basecrete has been a real game changer in regards to repairing concrete cancer. This product has been a go-to solution for so many different contractors and pool builders. It's my understanding, though, that Basecrete can be used to reduce alkali silica reactivity, ASR, a condition that causes concrete to crack. And I was hoping that you could provide us with some more information about that and what's happening on the ASR front, and maybe how Basecrete is working with the industry during this difficult time.
That's a very good question. Definitely worth talking about. I wrote an article 35 years ago, called it back then concrete cancer. I was working with a company outside of Pennsylvania that was inundated with lawsuits. I was sent down to try to figure out what was going on. And I made a comment back then that it's more related to the silica, I think, and still do, than I do with the fly ash that they use. And even during the shortages due to COVID, it kind of creeps up in certain pockets, certain areas of the country. I've seen it in Arizona. The worst part I've ever seen, of course, is what we're dealing with in Texas. And I'm working with companies like Texas Gunite, Juan Jose, very smart man. I've also been invited to sit down in some board meetings with other scientists to try to figure it out. Now, Basecrete helps it in the repair end of it. Does it completely mitigate it? No. That is something we're still all diligently working towards to try to figure out what to do. But we do have some processes that have it slow down and to have it moving forward to slow down the degradation. But our repair material is definitely helping the industry do the repair part of it. It's cancer, so you don't know where and when it's going to pop up, how bad it is, if it's going to continue to grow, or if you can stop it in its tracks. Right now, we're looking at stopping it in its tracks with some of the new material that I'm putting in the industry. That's where we're at now, Joe.
Well, the concern here is that the problem isn't confined to just Central Texas. I mean, I've spoken to several builders who have told me that the problem is systemic and has been occurring nationwide over the last few years that we've had the pandemic shortages. But I know you've been working to refine your own personal formula on Basecrete for decades. In fact, you recently announced the launch of Basecrete Xtreme on social media, and I was hoping that maybe you could talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I started working on this material a few years ago in Europe, actually, in my office in Italy and then to Portugal. And I've spent probably the last 3 years doing a tremendous amount of work where I felt completely confident of what we can do with it, bringing it over to North America, which we're now starting to produce and manufacture. It's a certain type of fiber and a certain percentage and a combination of other copolymers that we use inside the bag material. Then, of course, it still has to be mixed with our Basecrete liquid to get its full maximum usability of the material. Great for patching areas. It's more flexible. It has no wicking, so we don't get any wicking from the fiber using it. My number one purpose originally was to develop it for the ICF industry, which is an industry that is growing rapidly. For gunite swimming pools, is slowly going to start getting replaced by ICF. There's a tremendous amount of construction, commercial and residential, that's using the ICF industry. And the reason why I think probably more than anything is, I guess, the lack of experience of workers to get out there and do the work. So we're always trying to work on finding a way that makes things easier. Pouring concrete and shooting pools all day is a tough job. We're losing a lot of them that want to learn. So the industry will push to get something done a little bit more on the simple side. ICF is where I think it's really growing right now, as well as other wall systems for pools and construction.
Yeah, I agree. Insulated concrete forms definitely the future of this industry.
Yeah. So the material, so the Xtreme is more flexible, more impact resistant. The permeability rating is still the same. It hasn't changed, almost completely non-permeable. And we're getting a tremendous amount of inquiries about people wanting to use it, especially where you don't have to use the mesh as much for doing ICF. But for repair work, high strength, we're coming in at 6, 7, 8,000 PSI.
Well, how does the application process differ from your other formula?
It's basically the same. You use it the same way. It's just different. So you can trowel it, you can spray it, you can squeegee it. A lot of our, for instance, on the Basecrete applications, we're doing a lot of deck repairs, suspended decks, parking lots in New York. 2, 3, 400,000 square feet of application. They want a little bit more flexibility and a pull and a sure bond strength. So, these garages are very flexible. So some of the pools that are up in those high areas in these condos or hotels or whatever, they move an awful lot, and you want to have a little bit more sure bond strength. That's where Xtreme would come in on the sure bond strength.
Well, talk to me about durability a little bit, Vito. I mean, what improvements in durability or longevity does Basecrete Xtreme offer? I mean, especially in those harsh environments like pool applications.
It's basically the same animal with the percentages of the fibers that we incorporate inside our compound. You're going to get the same amount of adhesion. You're going to get the same amount of non-permeable penetration. You're going to get the same amount of feeling of workability. It's all, you're not even going to notice the difference. It's just going to be more in the sure bond strength, that it takes more of the movement when a building's moving around. Even in ICF industry or different types of, like, for repair work, for brick, veneer, things that have fiber, fissure cracks in it, and little different types of cracks, spider cracks. This will bridge those cracks a lot easier and give you a lot more performance out of the material.
How does this Basecrete Xtreme formula perform in terms of preventing cracks and leaks? I mean, especially under the stress of pool construction.
Well, this does the bridging a lot more. So, the cracks are always completely 100% unpredictable. I mean, when you're doing sidewalks and areas like that, where you can pre-plan your expansion joints, which still shocks us, because you can put an expansion joint on a sidewalk, for instance, and 3 inches away from it, it's going to crack. Doesn't touch the expansion joint. The concrete does its own thing. It's a type of material that is completely unpredictable. I mean, we have the best engineering firms that I work with, many of them, on trying to prevent those type of cracks. And it's kind of a preventative type of material that if it does happen, which it will, concrete's going to crack 100% in most cases, whether it's a swimming pool, suspended deck, or any concrete that's poured on ground, above ground, and suspended. If it happens, they will crack underneath the Basecrete, unless it's about 0.067 or 8, which is about the thickness of a credit card. You won't even see it, because we will bridge over those cracks. Usually a crack like that, if it's transferred right through for instance, if it's a swimming pool, transferred right through the system, you're going to get a leak. We want to be able to prevent that. And for instance, in our pool division, we do about over 3,000 waterproofing pools per month, and still growing. We're dominating the industry based on that, and we're preventing a lot of that. Well, it's the comfort zone. You want to be able to go to bed at night, especially these engineers. They don't want any issues once that pool is done. That's where we come in. We do our job. As the manufacturer, we do training all over the country on how to properly install Basecrete waterproofing to maintain whatever benefits they're looking for, which is cracks. Cracks, 2 reasons. They don't want them leaking, and visually, they just don't want to look at cracks, because cracks will just continue to fill up with water or deficiencies. For instance, up north, when you got a crack, it's a parking deck. If they're salting the roads, they seep into the cracks, they get to the steel. Steel is always the number one thing that we want to protect inside the concrete industry, of course.
Yeah, you've told me many times water is the number one enemy.
Yeah, it's the number one enemy. Yes, it carries everything: the salts, the acids, the acid rains. It carries everything into the cracks, into the fissures, and it also helps pull it in, because water specific gravity is about 980. It's what I call wet water. It just sucks it up. The concrete sucks up water, and whatever's sitting in there draws it into the cement. And that's what it does.
Well, you introduced this product first in Europe. Am I mistaken in that assumption?
You are absolutely correct. Yes.
So why did you go that route? Why didn't you bring it here first to the States?
Well, that's a very good question. I was running into some very old buildings that are, and so antiquities, for instance, the United States is 100 years old. Antiquities, the jobs that we deal with in Europe, for instance, we did an old Marriott hotel in Venice not that long ago. Now, these were built 5, 6, 7, 800 years ago. There was more than an immediate rush to get things done to preserve these beautiful buildings. Now, we monasteries, we do some beautiful work in Europe. In Italy, predominantly, because I've had an office there for about 10 years. A lot of these preservation societies are always looking for material. So what do we do in order to keep this maintained? That's why I decided, well, let's just start it there. And thought, well, there's an industry here, let's bring it here. And we're getting really good success with it.
Well, what was the response like from contractors that use the product in Europe?
They love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
I'm assuming that you're going to be anticipating an increased demand here in the United States.
Yeah, well, concrete's concrete, not just used for concrete. It's used for any type of stone or masonry work at the same time. And, from walls to ceilings to vertical, horizontal, we do it. Like I said, these beautiful buildings that we have worked on in, for instance, like Rome and Venice, these beautiful buildings, like not just in Portugal. We just did some work at a monastery in Portugal. We just did a beautiful rendition of repair work in that was built, I think, in the 12th century in Bordeaux, France, and chateau, which is beautiful. We have so many pictures. We'll have to show the industry some of the things that we've done. But doing 3,000 plus pools a month, we can pick and choose what we do all day, every day.
Well, you've had the skin microplaster. I think 2 years ago you introduced that to the U.S. market. This year is going to be Basecrete Xtreme. I mean, are there any upcoming innovations or enhancements planned for the Basecrete line?
Yeah, there is. There's my new suede program, which is amazing, and that is for a colorful decking wall system. But that's going to go more towards the veneer on the walls. I'm not completely 100% confident the microplasters are what we're looking for. This is a pool industry. I'd like to still continue to think that the pool plasters that are manufactured and applied by the professionals is where it should be. Pool plaster has still been out there for 100 years. It's still the number one product. It's outperformed everything that anybody's ever put on the market. I still want to continue pushing that angle. The pool plaster is still the best, including putting it on top of Basecrete as the membrane for ICF and then plaster over top of that. Other than that, so the suede program that we also have with beautiful colors. It looks like suede, feels like suede. It goes back to the artisan way they used to do things in Tuscany, for instance, 500-600 years ago. It's got that beautiful velvet look. That's going to be more on the for decking and vertical applications.
I mean, the suede product sounds pretty cool. Are you going to bring that with you to Orlando at Everything Under the Sun?
Yeah, we will be having, correct. Yes. Yeah. We'll have it actually starting the shows. We're going to be bringing it from the next show, I think is in November, moving forward to all the shows. We'll have it on display.
Oh, you're going to have it on display in Dallas? That's great. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, we're working on giving classes for training classes, proper waterproofing techniques. And we'll be talking about that very shortly, traveling all over the country, teaching proper waterproofing swimming pool vessel installation, the proper way it should be done. Stuff that's taken me 47, 48 years to figure out how to do it right. But there is a way of doing it right. We have an amazing history on doing it right and outperforming anything that's been put on the market for waterproofing swimming pools so far.
Say, Vito, if pool pros that are listening to this want to find out more information about getting in on one of your training events, where's the best place to find out?
Info at basecreteusa.com. Send us an email and we'll put you in touch with the right people, and that will help set up all these classes.
Awesome. Well, Vito, thanks so much for stopping by and checking in with us today to discuss Basecrete Xtreme. Always enjoy our discussions. It's been way too long, my friend.
Yeah, always good. And believe me, I've lost a lot of sleep trying to figure out the ASR. I'm not going to give up until we figure out something for it.
Well, I look forward to seeing you again when we head to Orlando for Everything Under the Sun in March. We'll have to get together for dinner maybe and catch up.
Dinner's on me this time because you guys took me out last time. So yes, I would look forward. It's always fun. We always have a good time. Love to do it.
Well, that's all the time we have left today. Make sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast.
Get everything you need for your next job without the hassle at AquaBluMosaics.com. We carry everything from high-quality pool tile, porcelain pavers, grout, fire and water features, and everything in between that you need to get your project done and put some money in your pocket. A literal showroom in the palm of your hand, we are the most powerful tool any pool contractor can have in their pocket. Become an Aqua Pro and save money on every order, get free samples, and have full access to our unmatched customer service. Easy to remember, hard to forget. Visit AquaBluMosaics.com.